Hi, very nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Yeah, thank you for coming in today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we really want to find a new leader for our fifth grade girl Bible study small group. I'm just so happy you could come today. So, what passage do you have today for the girls?
Job 3.
What? Wait, oh, that was funny. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, it's just for fifth grade girls. That's kind of a darker passage of the Bible.
Yeah, well, the first passage my mom had me memorize was 2 Samuel 11 through 12.
2 Samuel 11 through 12. Isn't that David and Bathsheba? Oh, hi, honey.
Hi there.
Are the other girls coming behind you?
Yeah, they're coming.
Okay. Okay, it seems like everybody's here. Do you want to take it from here?
Yeah. Hey guys. I'm gonna be your Bible study teacher for today. Turn in your Bibles to Job 3. It's the passage we're gonna be going over today, and yeah, we're gonna do it in a Bible study fashion. We're gonna go by COMA, which is an acronym, and it stands for C, context, O, observations, and M, meaning, and A, application. Okay, would anyone like to read the passage for us?
Oh, me, yes. I would really like to.
Alright, knock yourself out.
Job laments his birth. After this, Job opened his mouth and cursed the day of his birth. And Job said, "Let the day perish on which I was born. In the night that said, a man is conceived, let that day be darkness. May God above not seek it, nor light shine upon it. Let gloom and deep darkness claim it. Let clouds dwell upon it. Let the blackness of the day terrify it. That night, let thick darkness seize it. Let it not rejoice among the days of the year. Let it not come into the number of the months. Behold, let that night be barren. Let no joyful cry enter it. Let those curse it who curse the day, who are ready to rouse up Leviathan. Let the stars of its dawn be dark. Let it hope for light, but have none, nor see the eyelids of the morning, because it did not shut the doors of my mother's womb, nor hide trouble from my eyes. Why did I not die at birth, come out from the womb and expire? Why did the knees receive me, or why the breasts that I should nurse? For then I would have lain down and been quiet. I would have slept, then I would have been at rest, with kings and counselors of the earth, who rebuilt ruins for themselves, or with princes who had gold, who filled their houses with silver. Or why was I not as a hidden stillborn child, as infants who never see the light? There the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary are at rest. There the prisoners are at ease together. They hear not the voice of the taskmaker. The small and the great are there, and the slave is free from his master. Why is light given to him who is in misery, and life to the bitter in soul, who long for death, but it comes not, and dig for it more than hidden treasures, who rejoice exceedingly, and are glad when they find the grave? Why is light given to a man whose way is hidden, whom God has hedged in? For my sighing comes instead of my bread, and my groanings are poured out like water. For the thing that I fear comes upon me, and when I dread befalls me. I am not at ease, nor am I quiet. I have no rest, but trouble comes.
Alright. I know the passage is a little bit shocking. But we must continue to learn about its deeper meaning, so it's understandable and therefore less scary. First up, context. Alright, what's happening in Job? First of all, in the book of Job, we start out in the land of Uz, and we are introduced to a man named Job. Job is a very faithful man to God, and has many amazing things in his life. What kind of amazing things? Well,
He had 7 sons and 3 daughters. He owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 donkeys, and had a large number of servants. And he was the greatest man among all the people of the East. Also, in the beginning of Job, God is having a conversation with Satan about Job and how faithful Job is to God. Satan makes the claim that Job wouldn't be so thankful if all these great things were taken away from him. To test Job's faith, God allows Satan to take all these things away from Job.
Okay, how did Satan take stuff away?
Well, to be honest with you girls, it is very sad and honestly makes the book of Job hard to read. I will summarize it to this. Job lost all of these amazing things. He lost his animals, his wealth, his family. We also find out that Satan injures him in Job 2.
What?
Yes, so by the time we get to the passage today, Job 3, Job is in lots of pain about the loss he's experiencing. And you chose this for a small group of 5th grade girls?
Let's move on to observations.
Observations. Let's go through the text and talk about what observations we see that are confusing.
Oh, I know. What does it mean in verse 5 when it says, "Let the blackness of the day terrify it"? Verse 5?
Well, according to the IVP Bible Background Commentary book, days listed in Mesopotamia identify evil days in the month, specifically the days that fall on the 7th, 14th, 19th, 21st, and 28th. When these days of the months arrived, people were encouraged to not engage in business activities, build a house, or marry. It was even discouraged to eat fish on the 7th day of the 7th month. Mesopotamian omen day lists even described days where it was improper for women to give birth to babies and varieties of other social activities. Additionally, if a bad event happened on a day, that day would become an unlucky day from then on. This could be caused by the birth of an anomaly or the death of a king. So, in verses 3 through 6 of Job 3, including verse 5, we can assume that the blackness of the day is referring to an unlucky day. When looking for other observations, literary structures and methods are really important observations in the Bible. There are many forms of metaphors and imagery throughout the Bible, especially in the book of Job. According to Metaphorical Landscapes in the Theology of the Book of Job, spatial metaphors cause a metaphorical landscape in which God's character and his creation are challenged. As readers, did God allowing Satan to inflict these pains on Job cause you to question God's character?
A little bit.
Well, these spatial metaphors are metaphors referencing time, emotions, status, physical visuals. An example of an emotional spatial metaphor would be the phrase, "I am not feeling up to it." Feelings cannot go up. These metaphors are crucial to the theology of the whole book of Job, and these are seen constantly throughout it. In Job 3, we see examples of spatial metaphors, like in verse 10. "For it did not shut the doors of the womb on me to hide trouble from my eyes." Trouble is not something that can be shielded. These literary elements add intensity so that the reader can easily understand feelings of Job trying to be conveyed through the text.
What does it mean in verse 8 when it says, "Let those who curse the day, who are ready to rouse up Leviathan"?
That's right. I know what the Leviathan is.
Awesome, yeah. According to the article Leviathan to Lucifer, What Biblical Monsters Still Reveal by Kelly J. Murphy, according to Murphy, there's a good illustration of what a Leviathan is by William Blake's illustrations of Leviathan from the book of Job. It's a dragon-like creature with a coiled tail. Does anyone... Yeah, it's pretty scary. Yeah, sorry, okay, alright. Does anyone know another place in the Bible where we see the Leviathan?
Yes, I do. In Isaiah, we see the Leviathan too, where it is slain by God. And in that context, this is to show how God conquers evil. It says in Isaiah 27, "The Lord will punish with his sword, his fierce, great, and powerful sword, Leviathan, the gliding serpent, Leviathan, the coiling serpent,
He will slay the monster of the sea.
Yes, yeah, nice job. According to Murphy in this article, though, the literary purpose of monsters and the occurrence of Satan in text tends to somewhat have to do with the intention to strike fear in its audience. According to Murphy, God is somehow directly opposed to the monstrous and indeed all things that are bad or evil. From these observations of the Leviathan in the Bible, we see here that the Leviathan represents evil and disorder. So, in verse 8, when it says, "Let those who curse it, who curse the day, who are ready to rouse up Leviathan," in Job 3, we can conclude that Job is wishing that the day of his birth would be ruined by evil. Thus he wishes the day would be cursed, and that those who curse it would rouse up Leviathan too.
Leading up to Job 3, we know that Job loses pretty much everything and begins to suffer terribly. So, in the meaning of Job 3, we get to the point where he is literally questioning his existence through the pain, and eventually further into Job begins to question God. If God is just, why did he allow good people to suffer? And Job's friends also question this, as they begin to show their shallow understanding by saying, "Job, maybe you did do something wrong. Maybe you did warrant all this punishment." But specifically in Job 3, the meaning of this passage specifically is that Job is really hurting and he is calling up to God, questioning why is he suffering and why does he have to go through this? And he is lamenting his situation. We come to this understanding of this specific passage based on the things we studied under observations and meaning when we look at the Leviathan, which is this creature of chaos. Job is so miserable, he's wishing for this creature to come upon him. Or he's referencing old culture where there are unlucky days. He wishes those unlucky days would just come. And we see him using literary structures like metaphors to emphasize these points.
Okay, nice job. You are literally explaining to these 5th grade girls that characters in the Bible are losing their faith in God. How is this beneficial to their lives?
Actually, your question works out great because we just reached the last part of coma. Application. According to Multicultural Dimensions of the Bible by Malcolm Pattern, the Bible has many different ways of being ministered, and there are multicultural interpretations. So, in other words, different cultures will interpret a text in a different way. There are varieties of different ways different cultures in our society are suffering, and lots of these sufferings have lasted generations. The book of Job, to these cultures, can be relatable to some, as Job starts off with the intention to keep trusting and having faith in God. But as the pain persists and lasts long periods of time, Job begins to lean on his own understanding of what just is, and questions God's character. I think for these young girls, it is important for them to know the ending of Job, where Job is confronted about his mistrust and doubts in God's character and justness, and realizes he was wrong to ever doubt God's character. He repents and God gives him new blessings for returning to having strong faith. Girls, you all will have parts of your life where it is your turn to compare the troubles of your life to Job's, but now you girls know that you should still keep faith in God, because your understanding of what makes the world just might be based off your own understanding and not off of God's sovereignty. Yeah, I still think that's a little too deep for 5th graders to understand, but I think this is a good stopping point. Alright.
My mom's here to pick me up. She just texted.
Oh, okay, sweetie. Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, my mom's here too. As is my mother.
Oh, okay. Okay, bye. See you. So, do you think I'm a good fit to be a small group leader for this group?